Will you drink to the earth and to the days which have passed upon it? Will you drink to the fullness which was and to friends who have passed on?
They believe that you should not have a firearm to protect yourself, but you should pay for them to have firearms to protect them. They don't believe that your children should be educated. They believe that they should be indoctrinated. They're dragging up that hill all types of things. CRT, transgenderism, this idea of serving people. Who in the world came up with that garbage? And when the times get tough, you had best believe that Americans get told, just like they did on Little Round Top. They don't lay down, they don't back up, they don't quit.
How do we keep that from happening again when the next pandemic comes down the road?
Well, I mean, if I get to office, we're not going to lock people down during a pandemic.
Okay, I'm underlining that.
It's not the first time I've said
I'm throwing you a softball here because I want you to have a chance to say it again.
Because I was actually reading the protocols, that were written by WHO and CDC and FDA, and they were all saying you never lock a society down. You take care of the vulnerable, but you let everybody else go to work because you're going to kill more people with the lockdown than not, and particularly with a respiratory virus, because it's going to spread at home. Everything they did was exactly the opposite of what you do. I mean, they were giving tickets to surfers in Malibu, right? They were getting surfers out on the ocean, getting plenty of vitamin D sunlight out there, and they were calling them in. The police were coming to the beach. They put padlocks on the basketball courts, and they locked those kids in with the Cheetos. I got called a conspiracy theorist because back in May of 2020, I said, these vaccines are not going to prevent transmission. There's a tape of me saying exactly what they were going to do back then, that they're going to tell us is 100% effective, and then they're 80%, 70%, et cetera. So the regulators knew that.
What are they doing? You're not in the debate.
They're blocking me from participating in the debate. They told CNN they would not show up at the debate if I was on the stage. They're suing me to try to keep me off the ballot. They won't provide me Secret Service protection. I have to spend $1 million a month on my security.
The fifth person in your family to run, 2 have been assassinated.
Yeah.
And you don't get Secret Service.
No, well, my Uncle Teddy ran for president too, but they gave him Secret Service 550 days out, even before he was running, and it was a president who hated him.
Yeah, so that's 3.
Jimmy Carter, but Jimmy Carter had class enough to give it to somebody because he knew for the American public and American people, it's important to show that these federal institutions are not being weaponized for political purposes, and they've weaponized the Secret Service. I meet all the metrics for protection. There have been 33 candidates who got it prior to the 120-day. You're entitled to it 120 days from November. There have been 33 candidates who've gotten it before that, most of whom had a fraction of the support that I have. It's a distressing time for American democracy. The one group that I don't do well with, which is my Achilles heel, my key group, is baby boomers. I think the reason they don't like me is because they hear all of the sort of the defamations that you outlined at the beginning of this interview. He's anti-vax. He thinks chemicals cause you to be gay. All the ways that those things are treated, the way that they're repeated and they're mischaracterized in the press. So they think I'm genuinely a lunatic.
But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
too dark.
Well, maybe it is, but it's true. If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that because I think you're almost a free speech absolutist. You believe totally in the right to say what you believe, but I think a lot of us were disturbed to see terrorist flags being waved on American college campuses and seeing this, a generation that some I think genuinely care about the plight of the Palestinians. I think most Americans do, but some who seem to be embracing a terrorist organization over the nation of Israel. What do you make of this moment? What do you think it's a result of? How do we fix it?
Well, I mean, it's just astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. I mean, just morally. I mean, let me tell you, if you're for Hamas, just live in Gaza for a day. And I'm not talking about while the war is on. I mean, before the war. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv, a place that has your values. I mean, women have no, I mean, this is a show watched by a lot of women. Women have no rights in this place and a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. I mean, there is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment.
The LGBTQ community as well.
Yes.
That too. But you throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens at best.
Are you at all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women? And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can we do that with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community, and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that.
But are you
I assume the Israeli...
innocent lives?
Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that. Stop attacking Israel.
Of Israel and all the Jews. They're calling for the annihilation of the Jews. And so you can't really defend that on the other side very easily.
But before we go, I want to say...
No, we're not going anywhere yet.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing, as we were talking in the break. Joy is a wonderful human being, and she should not be afraid that people are going to attack her because she said that thing about the swastika on the cap.
Well,
she does not think that as you said to me in the break, you do not think that all the people who are for Trump are Nazis.
No, I don't.
You don't. Truth. You know, I mean, it's not like when I hear people talk on either side of it, I always think they're lying. They're just telling me half of it.
Yeah.
And I never trust them anywhere until I check out the other half. And that's just, it's tedious. You know, I just want one place, and of course it's my book and my show.
What do you want people to take away from reading it?
Well, I think I think we're tribal now, which is not good. And I think there's 4 tribes, basically. There's old school liberals, which I would mostly count myself as, old school conservatives. There's still some of those
You've
left.
changed, though.
Wait, what are the other 2?
Go ahead.
Well,
What are the other 2?
well, that's what that's what I was trying to find out in this book. I don't think I have. And, you know, we were saying in the break, we have to come up with a new word for woke. Let's have a contest, because this is a word that's triggering. But, I mean, those concepts that are different than they were 5 years ago. I mean, we used to do, well, you did it. I was a guest on what was the homeless show? Comic Relief.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You were, great show.
Yeah.
And homeless was a term that I thought we kind of came up with because people were calling them bums and vagrants and hobos.
Now that's
homeless.
the word.
No.
It's unhoused.
Well, it's
now.
people
Unhoused.
experiencing
Now it's
homelessness. But they're experiencing it on the street.
Yeah.
Okay, the liberal view of that was for compassion's sake. We're the liberals, we're compassionate. Let's get these people off the street. That's not the view of the, whatever word we're going to come up with for this. Their view of the homeless is they're an endangered species that needs to be protected in their natural habitat. living their best life under a bridge. You know, that to me is crazy. That's the kind of things, I haven't changed on that. I still think we should get these people off the street. That's the compassion sake. So I didn't change, they changed, and there's lots of examples of that.